All right, here is question number 3. What's the formula for building a faithful team of volunteers? The formula, I would say, it starts with communicating the vision, the mission. You're always communicating the why are we here? Why are we gathered? What are we doing? Right? It can't just be and I'm not talking about we're here to run a great youth meeting. That's not the vision or mission. Well, we're here to keep kids from doing bad things. Nope, that's not the mission either. The ultimate vision, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, the ultimate vision and mission doesn't change from what the ultimate vision and mission of Jesus is. And that is to go into all the world, preach the gospel, and make disciples. To be faithful, you're not asking them to be faithful to the youth meeting. Anybody can do that, right? Be faithful to the youth meeting. I say you start to lose people when the vision and mission is no longer put forward. When you're not talking about the mission or how we're doing what we're doing, why is small groups important? Why is this outreach important? Why is this series of messages important? Why is students going to camp important? If you're not always communicating why these things are important, people get disinterested. People just don't care. And listen, if you're not reminded why it's important, you quit caring too. We're all the same way. We get distracted. Look, squirrels, right? Shiny things. That's what we do. When we're not, and somebody has to bring us back to keeping us on mission and keeping us in those things. So I think that's the first thing. The first thing is keeping your volunteers, or a formula for building a faithful team of volunteers is always keeping the vision and the mission before them. Keeping the vision before them and the mission of how we do and why they are so important to the vision happening, because their participation in the mission of making it happen, how we do what we do, they are so vital to that, right? There is no replacement for them. They're getting it done, and you have to equip them to do that. Employees stay. This is put up by a consulting firm. And they said, look, employees stay where they're paid well. So if we were to break this down, okay, into its components. First of all, we don't pay our volunteers. You might, I don't. The payment, I would say, for a volunteer, is that they got to do the thing they wanted to do and they saw the results of their actions. That whatever it is they did, they taught the Sunday school, they led the small group, they went on the retreat with you, they went to the amusement park with you, that the payoff for them is that they got to minister to young people, that there was an opportunity. And this goes back to, by the way, you doing everything. If you're not giving your volunteers something to do, that you're not paying them. You've got to give them something valuable to. Not everything you give them is valuable. Emptying the trash on Wednesday night, to some may be valuable because they're contributing to the look of the room, keeping it clean. That's a payoff for them. Their volunteer, their work, there has to be a payoff in what they do. You have to be able to give them something that is, first of all, maybe it lines up with their gifts, talents, and abilities. Volunteers tend not to be as faithful when they're doing something they're not good at. They're willing to do it. So how can you find a way to get those volunteers out of the thing they don't like and get them into the thing that they're most passionate about, they're most skilled at, they're most gifted at? How do we do that? That's your job and my job as a leader. So when you talk about paying, that's what I'm talking about there. I'm not talking about money. Okay. Although you can give them gifts. There's nothing wrong with that. Rewarding them, right? That's in here too. Mentoring. Mentor them at the level that they want to be mentored. They don't need to know everything about the program. They don't need to know everything about the philosophy and ideology of your ministry. They don't need to know all that. What they do need to know is how can I do my job, the thing that you've asked me to do? How can you help me do it to the best of my ability? So I feel confident in what I'm doing. I feel good about what I'm doing. And you come along, you've helped me do that because you've mentored them to the level that they want to be mentored. They don't need to know everything. They need to know what they need to do for that. Help them do that, the thing that they signed up for. Don't spread them so thin. Mentor them in the things that they want to be able to do and maybe some things they want to get better at. Let them tell you what that is. Don't suppose, right? Number 3. All right, number 3 is challenged. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with challenging. And that's not a negative. You're encouraging them. And when I say challenge, right, you're not challenging them to a fight in the parking lot, although I'm sure that happens. somewhere. But you're challenging them to mature in their faith. You're giving them opportunities, right? When a volunteer comes on board, it is to me, and I make sure they understand this, that look, this is an open opportunity for discipleship as well. Discipleship never ends. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean discipleship ends. You're still learning. You're still learning what's going on. You're still trying to grab hold of things. And so when you challenge somebody, you're saying, look, I sense that you have some gifts and abilities. You've never gotten up and spoken in front of the audience before. Would you be interested in doing that? Would you be interested in sharing the devotion? I think you'd be really good at it, right? You challenge them. The challenge isn't an aggressive thing. A challenge is simply for them to move into an area that they may be hesitant about, but they do have skills and abilities, but you want to help them do that. So you're going to challenge them by giving them opportunities. Another one here is promoted. Okay, and this can also act with the challenge that, once again, there's no promotion per se in volunteering, but I think a volunteer sees it as a promotion when they finally get to do the thing they want to do. Okay, when they get to do the thing, they see that as a promotion. Okay, involved. I think that speaks for itself. Being involved. You've got to give them roles and responsibilities. Otherwise, they're going to be a headache for you. Or worse, they're just not going to be faithful. You say, you don't really need me. I don't do anything. I stand at the back and do disciplinary work for you. That's not fun. And may be necessary. And some people might be like that. But if they don't feel like they're involved with what's going on, they're probably going to check out on you. All right. Appreciated. They just want to be appreciated. There needs to be a time of year. Hopefully your church has this where, once a year they're doing a volunteer appreciation day. And if they don't have one, we'll create one for your adults. Be at the end of the year, end of the school year, whenever's good for you. But find a way to appreciate your adults. Let's see. Trusted. Do you trust them to do the thing you've given them to do? Or are you micromanaging them? Or are you, taking a thing away from them because you don't feel like they're doing it the way you want them to do it, or you want them to do it? Do you trust them? You've given them an assignment. Can you trust them to do it? Well, yes, you should. Or you can just check in with them, right? I always say the phrase I learned was you always inspect what you expect. And that just means that's just checking in. How are you doing? Can I help you with anything? Do you need anything from me? If you do, let me know. If you don't, fine, I move along. So we're still on schedule for this to happen. Is that right? Great, fantastic. And you move on. And then you have empowered. Do they have the authority to do the things you've asked them to do? Tell a kid when to go to bed if they're at camp. Do they have the authority to do certain things? Once again, not taking your authority, but if you're going to give them the authority to lead a small group, well, then they have to do certain things. They have to be willing to, hey, do I have the authority to correct a student? Do I have the authority, not, and when I say that, you know what I mean, right? Do I have the authority to say, hey, buddy, you need to settle down? Do I have the authority to do that? Yes, you do. But also, if you have to do that, please let me know that you had to do that so that I can be aware of it. Keeping open communication. So authority can be empowered is not just about authority. Empowered is also confidence. Are they confident to do that? Are you empowering them, giving them the tools, the resources, the whatever it is that they need to do the thing they need to do, right? It's not wrapped up in authority, because there's plenty of volunteers who've wanted authority. And not all adult volunteers should get authority. I think we agree upon that. And the last thing is, are they valued? Do you communicate value to them? Do you ever, look, I tried my best every week to say, hey, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the team. Thank you for just gratefulness. And you can do this all year long. You don't have to wait for the volunteer, day when you give them a reward or give them a gift or give them something where you honor them. You can value them by simply saying, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part today. Thank you for doing your role. And in valuing them, you're telling them, why do I value you? Because you're saying that, listen, because you did this, this happened. You are connecting their actions to what has just occurred. Because you were here, we were able to have an extra 20 kids come to this outreach. It would not nearly have been effective if you were not here. Violate any of these things that are right here, be sure you go back and fix that pretty quickly, because faithful people will be faithful for a while, but if you continually break these things, if you continually not do those things, they will not be faithful very long.